Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Gaurachandra Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Jaya Srinivas Jaya Mukunda Vasudevi Jaya Haridas.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to GBC SPT YouTube channel. And we are celebrating 125th birth anniversary of Srila Prabhupada and the 100th anniversary of the momentous meeting with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this time we are focusing on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's declaration, Prithvite Achi Nagaradi Gram, Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Moranam. So thus we are calling this series Every Town and Village, going deeply into Srila Prabhupada's principle and strategies for serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching mission. So from 22nd to 17th March, we will be broadcasting different talks by leading devotees around the world. And today we are going to discuss a very important topic. The highest compassion for all living beings is expressed through preaching. And today we are very fortunate to have His Holiness Badrinarayan Swami Maharaj to speak on this topic. I will just like to introduce a brief introduction about Maharaj.
Very
Badrinarayan.
brief.
Yes, Maharaj, I will keep it very short.
Thank you.
So, Maharaj is initiated disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Maharaj, born in 1952, he met Srila Prabhupada in 1969 and moved into the Laguna Beach temple as full-time monk in 1970. Got his first initiation in 1971. Since that, Maharaj is offering very valuable services to ISKCON, being the temple president of Ann Arbor, Michigan from 1973 through 1977, and then San Diego 78 to 93. And he has been serving as a member of ISKCON's GBC body since 1987. Maharaj has served as the chairman of ISKCON's International GBC and is a member of ISKCON's North America and Executive Committee. Maharaj is the author and co-author of several GBC position papers and serves as a member of a number of GBC strategies and steering committees. Maharaj was awarded the Sannyas Order in 2014 and become an ISKCON Diksha Guru in 2020. So we are very fortunate. We welcome Maharaj to share his thought. The highest compassion for all living beings is expressed through preaching. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminita Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paskachadi Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadwaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchakopatiyubhascha kripasindhabhye vachapatitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Well, this is a very exalted topic, and I am far from exalted. I'm thinking the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it said that a bird flies in the sky according to its ability. So I can only speak according to my level of understanding, but I'll do my best, and thank you for being patient, a quality I lack, so let's hope you've got more than me. The promo or the introduction I got, it said that in many cases, ISKCON parallels Mahaprabhu's Leela. I'll say that again, because that's the theme we're going to go with here. That in many ways, ISKCON parallels or represents Mahaprabhu's Leela. And I would offer something a little different. I would say, and I'll make my case in a moment, I would say that ISKCON is Lord Chaitanya's Leela. A bird flies in the sky according to its ability. And Prabhupada quotes Chanakya Pandit, you can learn different things from different animals. You can learn from a dog to be loyal and, sleep anywhere, different things you can learn from different animals. And he says that you can learn from a crow, which is a bird. You can learn from a crow to be a little suspicious. Don't just take things on face value. Be careful. So I've made a claim. I've made a claim that ISKCON is Lord Chaitanya's Leela. Not just something like, but actually is. Well, all right then. You have a right to doubt that. You can test me. And this is the purpose of this class, one of the points, other than to get your association. The purpose of this class is to make the case for that. So let me just say this. Let's start off with the fact that we live in a mystical world. People used to challenge Prabhupada. Can you show me God? Show me God. Where's God? Prabhupada would answer different ways. He had so many ways of answering. But I heard him answer one time. Someone said, show me God. Can you see God? He had said, can you see God? And Prabhupada said, that's not really the right question. The question is, why can't you see God? Prabhupada said that the mystic power and the presence of God is all around us. So he was making the point that anyone who's got intelligence and practical vision sees the mystical power of God everywhere. It's not that it's difficult to see. It's that you don't open your eyes. So Prabhupada gave some examples how Krishna's mystic power, how we live in a mystical world that's sustained and maintained by Krishna, that everything going on in this world is mystical and amazing. He gave the example of how this world is Purnam. Om Purnama Da Purnamidam. Everything is emanating from the absolute complete whole, and everything that emanates from him is also a complete whole. He gives the example that the sun is shining on the ocean. It's a huge stock of water. Anyone know why there's salt in the ocean? I heard Prabhupada say salt in the ocean controls the distillation rate, the rate that it evaporates, and also acts as a preservative, keeps it fresh. So there's Krishna's chemistry, and it shines down, the sun shines down, the water evaporates. It's floated in the sky, billions of tons of water. Some yogi, by his mystic power, floats a glass of water, and everyone's amazed. But Krishna's floating whole planets, clouds with literally billions of tons of moisture. They blow, they catch on the mountains. When the cloud catches on the mountain, pounds on the mountain, brings all the minerals, come down, fertilize the field, all the crops are watered, picks up all the garbage, drops it in the bottom of the ocean again, and it's a perfect free energy machine, going on since time immemorial. That's pretty mystical. Prabhupada said that you feed one scientist was challenging, where is the mystic power of God? It's all going on by laws of physics. Prabhupada said, Krishna arranges that a cow, he makes a cow that can eat straw. Straw is, lower than a straw in the street. A straw is practically useless. Of course, it has many uses, actually, but, it's an insignificant price. And yet Krishna takes straw, makes a cow, the cow eats the straw, and turns it into, Prabhupada said, the miracle food for old men and babies, liquid religiosity, turns it into milk. And then Prabhupada turned to the man and said, can you do that? Why don't you feed your wife some straw and let's see her make milk? So, these are just simple examples. I was on a plane flying to India. And man sat down next to me, happened to be an Indian gentleman. And he said to me, he said, "Oh, I see that you're a bhakta. I'm dressed like this, Didn't take a genius to figure that one out. So he said, "Oh, I see that you're a bhakta." I said, "Yes, trying to be." And he said, "Well, I'm an atheist." And I was saying, "Well, this is going to be a long flight. I'm going all the way from LA to Singapore nonstop." So I asked him, I said, "What do you do, sir?" He said, I helped design I work for Boeing, and I helped design the 777 Dreamliner, the airplane. He's very proud of it. And, that's some accomplished. I said, fine, okay. Because his premise is there's no God. Everything happens by laws of physics. There's no supreme intelligence. There's no designer. That was his premise. So I said, let me ask you this. I said, did you design the Dreamliner all by yourself? He said, no. He said, there are about a dozen teams. There's an aeronautics team. There's the electrical team. There's the hydraulics team. So many different teams. He was on one of the teams. I said, okay, and how many on a team? He said, well, an average of about a dozen. So let's be conservative. 12 people on a team, 10 teams. That's 120 people of the best and brightest. And that doesn't include all the subcontractors, all the people who they got ready-made, the computers they purchased, all the things that were not custom designed, but they bought off the shelf. So you had hundreds of people with the best of brains to design the 777 Dreamliner airplane. Okay. And frankly, how fast does it go? I think they can go up to 600 miles an hour, something like that. They carry maybe 300 people on them. They're one of the worst pollutants in the world is jet fuel. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but they crash sometimes, and they cost a ton of money. It's a big chunk of change to buy that ticket on an airplane. So, and you can't wait to get off the thing. After a few hours on a plane, you're just suffocating. So they're very proud of this, what they created. I said, let me ask you a question. Now that took the best and the brightest, and you're proud of your accomplishment, and it took your fine intelligence to do it. Now let's compare apples to apples. What about all the planets? Just take one planet, planet Earth. It's flying at, I forget what it is, 1,800 miles per second. I forget exactly what it is. Not only is it flying around the sun, so they say, and it's also rotating, I said, try that in your 777. Speed that up to, 1,800 miles per second and spin it. See how well that goes. And I don't know what the population of the Earth is. I think it's 6 billion, 7 billion. Forget what China's numbers are, but, you're going 600 miles, 1,800 miles and spinning. We're comparing your 777 to planet Earth. And you've got 300 plus, 400 plus. It's got, 7 billion people on it. You're told every now and then there's an announcement. You were going to get some turbulence. Fasten your seatbelt. You never hear Bhumi saying that, or Lord Brahma, or Lord Indra. Hey, watch out, planet Earth. There's going to be some turbulence. Put on you. We don't even feel it. We're going 1,800 miles a second and spinning, and my seat is not even ruffled. So, it doesn't cost me anything. I'm riding for free. There's no pollution. So how do you expect, I said, sir, please give me some seamless logic here. You're proud what 120 people created, and it's definitely an inferior product. And planet Earth, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Krishna says, he created, and there's unlimited planets and whole universes. And you expect me to believe that all happened by chance? Please square the logic of that for me. And he turned to me and said, oh, Swami, I have to finish my tea. So that was the end of the conversation. But my point is that all around us is the mystic power of God. Prabhupada said, I'm speaking to you by the mercy of God, and you're hearing me by the mercy of God. So I was in Darshan in Detroit. I forget the year, probably 75, 76. And a man kept saying, Swamiji, can you tell us about Krishna's Leelas? Can you tell us about Krishna's Leela? He wanted Prabhupada to talk about the gopis and, the usual thing they want, without any adhikari. So Prabhupada said, he kept pushing Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, finally he said, Prabhupada said, this ISKCON movement is an incarnation of Krishna. And he's come again to save the world. That this ISKCON, the preaching mission, it's actually an incarnation of Krishna, come again to save the world. Prabhupada said it. So the point I'm trying to make is that, hang on a second. Well, that's interesting. It's never happened before. Stay with me, my friends. This is an interesting day. We've had problems at every moment. Okay. So Krishna says, here's what the point I'm trying to make about mercy and about empowerment and about compassion. Krishna says in the Gita, 11th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, he says to Arjuna, you can fight or not fight. That's your choice. You can fight or not fight. But no one on this battlefield is going home. It's my will. This battlefield goes on. So you can participate and get the credit or not. But it's happening. So Prabhupada said that the whole point of Bhagavad Gita was to turn, Prabhupada would take, he would hear things like, they said this chanting is brainwashing. And Prabhupada said, if the brain's dirty, shouldn't you wash it? So Prabhupada was on a radio show. Mukunda Maharaj told me this. And the lady called in, is an American, radio, and called Prabhupada a freeloader. Now, a freeloader, that's a very sarcastic term in America. It means that you're just a parasite on society. You're not doing anything valuable, and you're living off the hard work of others. So especially in those days, it was a very derogatory term. So this lady calls Prabhupada a freeloader. And Prabhupada thought about it. And Prabhupada said, yes, I am a freeloader. And what he meant was he got a free ride on the Scindia shipping line. He got a free ticket. So it just bewildered the guy, that the person who called in, because Prabhupada wasn't upset at all. He actually conceded, yes, I'm a freeloader. So here's another one. There's a saying in America that someone is a yes man. And a yes man, in modern sense, is mean that someone has no independence, no independent thinking, is just, a puppet in someone's hand. So Prabhupada said, you can hear it on a lecture. Prabhupada says that the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita was to turn Arjuna from a no man to a yes man. He was saying no to Krishna, no this, no that, no this, I won't fight, no. And the whole purpose was turning him into conceding that, yes, I will do what you want. That is my position. I become a yes man. So the reason I bring this up is that we live in a mystical universe. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, this ISKCON, it is mystical. And the question is, well, I guess I'll say it this way. Krishna says, Yeyatam mam prapadyante. As they surrender, I reciprocate. And Prabhupada said, because the question is how to become empowered. Like the Gulf Stream, in the old days of the sailing ships, they caught the Gulf Stream. If you catch the ocean current, it goes in a circle. It goes down from north to south along the USA seaboard and swings through the Caribbean, and it'll bring you all the way back up to Europe. So you want to catch that stream. If you catch the stream, you're pulled along with it. When you're flying in an airplane, if you have a tailwind, it'll push you faster. So the question is, it's a mystical universe going on by Krishna's power. Now, how do we get the chance? How do we become empowered to participate in this mystical movement? How do we catch that current of Krishna's mercy? You want to get in that tide. You want to get in that flow. How do we do it? It's a valuable question. One answer is, as Prabhupada says, that we become a yes man. We become compliant with Krishna. Prabhupada gave a nice example. Of course he did. That there's different materials carry different degrees of electricity, have different degrees of conductivity. Like rubber, it acts as insulation. Hardly any current will flow. Wood is a little bit better, but not much. Water is better. Better than that is, platinum. So there's a copper, it goes progressively. Different materials have progressively greater degrees of electricity, conductivity. Electricity will flow through them. Does anyone know what determines how much electricity can flow through a material? It's the degree of resistance. Less resistance, more current can flow. So if we want to catch that mystical tide of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, it requires us to reduce our resistance. I want, I need, I, me, mine, my pride, my this, so many things. We will not be able to catch the current of Krishna's mercy. So what is the key that puts us in that flow of mercy so that we can become empowered to participate in the mystical movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What's the secret? What's the key? There's several of them, but the one I wanted to focus on to access that, what is the mood required to access the mercy so we can catch the tide of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy? And that qualification is humility, lower than the straw in the street. I was standing next to Vaisheshika Prabhu one time at the LA Ratha Yatra in the book booth, of course, that's where he was. And someone asked him, what does Hare Krishna mean? Now, there's many, many ways you can answer that. But when they asked Vaisheshika, he's just an ordinary person on the street, didn't know anything about us, it was just whatever. So Vaisheshika Prabhu said, Hare Krishna means it's a prayer, and it means I need help. I need help. That recognition that we are just tiny living entities. Sanatana Goswami, who was actually qualified, a great scholar. He was the prime minister for the Nawab Hussain Shah. Bengal was what? Forget England at that time. Forget the gross national product of France. The gross national product of France, Germany, Italy, England, all combined didn't equal the gross national product of Bengal in the time of Sanatana Goswami. You can Google it. So, such a qualified person, Sanatana Goswami. And what was his question? He asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kayami, who am I? What am I doing here? There was, again, it was in Detroit. A man asked Prabhupada, Indian gentleman, and he said, Swami, can you read my palm? And Prabhupada went on to describe that, we don't actually do that thing, that, we just depend on Krishna. Yokeshmam Bahamiham, whatever we need, Krishna brings, Krishna carries, We simply depend on Krishna. Prabhupada said, too much material calculation kills the spirit of bhakti. So but Prabhupada gave a beautiful explanation. And when he got done, Prabhupada finished, the man said, yes, Swamiji, but can you read my palm? The whole thing just went right over his head. So Prabhupada, to everyone's surprise, it was evening time. Prabhupada sitting at the low desk in his darshan room. Prabhupada said, give me your hand. Prabhupada took the man's hand. Prabhupada was expert at theatrics, turned on his desk lamp. And, they squeezed the palm. They're looking at the lines, this and that, We thought, geez, Prabhupada's reading palms. I'm going to get in queue. Maybe he'll read my hand. So Prabhupada studied the lines. And then after a few minutes, he went, slapped his hand, the man's hand, and said, all bad. Birth, death, disease, and old age. The man was shocked. I thought he was going to have a heart attack. And then Prabhupada, then all of a sudden, Prabhupada was so serious. All bad. Birth, death, disease, old age. And then Prabhupada got a blissful Vaikuntha smile. And he said, but you clap your hands at kirtan, all the lines go away. So we're insignificant. Madhuvisa told me that, in the Gita it says one whose reactions to sinful activities have been removed, burned off, and has performed pious activities, has a huge, no more pop and a huge pile of punya. That person can take the devotional service. So Madhuvisa Prabhu said, but Prabhupada, I didn't have any pious deeds. Rather, I was performing sinful activity till the minute I met you. So how was I able to take the devotional service? Prabhupada's response was, I've created your good fortune. I heard Prabhupada, he was reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he described what causeless mercy is. Causeless mercy means you're walking down the street, minding your own business, completely an illusion. Somebody walks up to you, an unknown person walks up to you and hands you bags and bags of money. Says, take, just take it. That's causeless mercy. Comes unexpected, without any qualification, more than you can calculate. So we're just floating, we're tiny jivas floating around in the material world. I guess I'll say this. Once again, what is our position? Prabhupada tells the story that a fly, a mosquito flies into the king's throne room. And the king's sitting on his throne with his dabar and all the courtiers there, and he's meting out justice. This little mosquito lands on the king's shoulder. He's sitting there on the king's shoulder. And because he's a mosquito, what can he understand of things? And the mosquito thinks, because everyone's bowing down to the king and respecting, he thinks, oh, they're all bowing down to me. I'm such an important personality, and I'm sitting on this big throne. So he becomes very happy. And in his happiness, he's thinking, I'm the king, I'm so important, everyone's offering respect to me. Prabhupada said the king hears the buzzing and goes, he's finished. So the material nature is like that. Govinda Das says it's like a lily pad and a drop of water. The lily pad is waxy. And that little tip, it'll slide right off. Just for fun, because I was thinking, we're so proud of our position, but we're very fragile. I'm looking at the time. Different ways people die. Because I'm a priest, we often go to funerals because death is for certain, and they offer eulogies. They praise the person that, this and that. So we were at this, all the relatives and friends get up and try to say something nice about the person. So the dead body is there in the coffin, and everyone's going up to the podium, and the theme, somehow or other, they were all saying the same thing, that this man would always, if you called him in the middle of the night, he would answer that call and help you. If you got thrown in jail in Zimbabwe, in Africa, if you had one call, you call this guy. He was always on call. He was always ready to help. He would always answer your call. Just then, we heard this bring, 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 bring. It was a cell phone ringing. And everyone looked at their cell phone, shut their phone off. Bring, bring. It was still ringing. Bring, bring. The devotee who was with me, very nice devotee, realized that the man's cell phone, they'd left his cell phone in his shirt pocket. So he's there in the coffin, and his phone is ringing. So Dharma Setu, that's the devotee, Dharma Prabhu had to reach in and shut the man's cell phone off. And then when he came back and sat back down next to me, he said, well, he's out of range now. So you can call him, but he's not answering. So what is our position? There was just two more factoids because I think they're fun. Over 700 people per year around the world die making toast. Over, 1,200 people, I guess they stick the fork in to try to get it out. They see the light. People die, what was I going to say? Oh, falling out of bed. Almost 1,500 people die falling out of bed. Who expected that? My favorite, it's 10 to 12 people per year around the world die from sharks, being killed by sharks. Not that many. 10 to 12. 700 people, 700 plus, are killed by falling coconuts. You're worried about the shark, but it's that coconut tree that's going to get you. So, we are completely, again, back to Govinda Das, just floating. So, Prabhupada said, I'm speaking to you by the mercy of God, and you're hearing me by the mercy of God. We should be humble. What do we take with us? I mean, we all know that. So, Sudam Prabhu was with Srila Prabhupada at LAX. He told us when he got back that Los Angeles, he was with anyone who was ever in an airport with Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada arrived, it was a mystical scene. The whole place it was like the Klieg lights. Those, when they're doing a movie and they've got those big lights that just light up everything. The whole place, hundreds of devotees, 10 conch shells, 15 drum players, smoking kirtan, prasadam distribution, flower petals. It was unbelievable. So Sudam Prabhu said to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, when I walk with you, like this scene at the airport, sometimes I feel proud. And is that material, or what do I do with that? Prabhupada said, no, you can think like this. This is how you should think. You should think, by the grace of my spiritual master, I'm no longer a fool and a rascal. By the grace of my spiritual master, I'm no longer a fool and a rascal. Prabhupada said that only a devotee knows who is who and what is what. So many things. Prabhupada said intelligence, one of the definitions of intelligence, Prabhupada said, is the ability to balance contradictory points within the mind. To synthesize and balance contradictory points in the mind. So we should be completely aware. If Sanatana Goswami felt like a straw in the street and didn't know who he was and what the purpose of life was and why he was suffering, then where are we at? We're going to be bonked on the head and knocked off the scene by a coconut. So, on one hand, we should feel humble, and rightly so. But we should also feel confident that, well, let's say it this way. Prabhupada asked me one time, this was at a darshan in Dallas, Texas. I think it was 1973. But he said, picture a bucket of water. Picture nice, whatever, bucket of water. What happens if you put your hand in it up to your elbow? What happens to the water line? Put your hand, there's a bucket of water, half full of water. Put your hand in it, water line goes up. Take your hand out. What happens? Water line goes back to the exact same place. It's as if your hand was never there. So Prabhupada said we have this human form of life. What are we doing with it? Simply eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, like the dogs and hogs, camels, and asses? What is the use? All we're doing is filling up space. We raised a family, paid off a mortgage, retired in Florida, and dropped dead. Kijai. Is that all that there is? And, a very short period of time after we die, no one can even remember what we looked like without a photograph. They can't remember the sound of our voice. Maybe 6 or 7 people on the planet remember us. Maybe. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I'm adventure. We're talking about we have a chance to be engaged, to catch the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by participating in ISKCON, participating in the preaching work. It is the most wonderful, instead of just filling up space, struggling until we're knocked off the stage, why not do something wonderful? Prabhupada's and it doesn't matter what you do in the service of the preaching mission. Of course, we know that to whoever you meet, wherever you go, instruct them in the science of Krishna. But whether you're a pujari and they come and see the beautiful deities, whether you're a cook and they can, I've met people in America and other places, but they got a Simply Wonderful or a piece of burfi, or I met a football player one time. The guy was about, 7 feet tall, built like a gorilla. And he told me, he was very gentle. He came up to me and said, "You got any of those pakoras?" He said, "Pakora." He meant pakora. And someone had given him, at some Hare Krishna festival, he'd gotten a cauliflower pakora with tomato chutney. He said, "That was better than fried chicken." That was, a bird flies in the sky according to its ability. But this is 25 years later, and he remembered that pakora that some devotee had cooked and offered to Krishna. And he'd never tasted anything like it. So my point is that we live in a mystical world. And Sanatana Goswami, because I mentioned him earlier, he was keeping Madan Mohan in a tree. And all he could offer him was, a little dried bread. Those little, I forget what they call those balls that you cook in the fire or just leave in the sun till they dry. And Madan Mohan said, at least give me a little salt. Just dry, a little salt, come on. And Sanatana Goswami said, "I'll do whatever you want, but you want me to write these books. You want me to rediscover the places of pilgrimage. If you want salt, next thing you'll want puris, next thing you want a sabji, next thing I'll do whatever you want, but I can't do all these things. So, all right. But Krishna's sense of humor, Krishna's mystic power, that, the merchant traveling down to Agra on the Yamuna, it was a salt merchant. And the whole story is there. The boat got stuck and Madan Mohan freed it and this and that. And the merchant was so impressed that he sold his wares in Agra and came back and built the Madan Mohan temple. So Krishna wanted a little bit of salt. Now, how do I do it? How do I do everything? And Krishna's sense of humor, it was a salt merchant that built that beautiful temple. So, Prabhupada coming to America, it's just, unless you lived in America in the 1960s and 70s, you really can't understand. If a spaceship with little green Martians landed in your backyard and, got out with a Madanga and Kirtan, Prabhupada arriving in America, everything was against him. Everything. The culture. If you weren't white, male, Christian in America, you didn't really count. And if you said, I remember giving somebody a book once. A lot of time it happened. I'd say it's on yoga. They say yogurt, dahi, yogurt. I don't eat yogurt. So no, back up, try it again, So, and all over the world, it's just inconceivable. So Prabhupada makes the point. So many Bhagavad Gitas. I think at one time Prabhupada quotes there were 36 different. He went to the New York City Library, and he saw that there were 36. I don't know if it included some foreign language, but there are 36 versions of Bhagavad Gita, and not one had made a devotee. Not one. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, they don't even meet a devotee. I became a devotee, trying to be a devotee, because I found the cover had been torn off, the back had been torn off. All I found was the 6th chapter, Jnana Yoga. I read the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and I was in. All the questions that had been vexed me since I was born were answered in one chapter. I said, man, if this is one chapter, I got to get the book. So I guess I'll say it this way, that we can just slog on. I met a man the other day. He told me, his friend asked him, what are you doing? It's an American saying. He said, I'm just killing time. It means you're just hanging out, not doing anything. So His friend asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I'm just killing time." And I gently pointed out to him, I said, "Actually, sir, you are not killing time. Time is killing you. Time's just fine. We're the ones being worn down by time." Krishna says, "Time I am, the destroyer of all things." So we can just slog it out against the material nature, live an insignificant life, and what was the use? We just took up space. Or we can catch the wave of Lord Chaitanya's mission. And it's adventure. Krishna says, "I am adventure." It's adventure at every step. It is mystical. And the way to catch that, the sail that will help us catch that tide is humility. Prabhupada named one devotee Petit Udaran, and Prabhupada told him it means fallen deliverer. That we're fallen, and yet we can deliver by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is a wonderful, if you doubt the ISKCON is mystical and empowered by Krishna, and if you doubt that devotees have mystic power, we had a presentation yesterday on the GBC. We have a Zoom call and all that stuff, and it was an absolutely blissful presentation by Vaisheshika Prabhu. And I'll give you just one figure. In 2021, last year, devotees around the world distributed 35,432 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. 35,432 sets, full sets of Srimad Bhagavatam. We distributed, devotees around the world, over 2,805,444, over 8 million, almost 3 million Bhagavad Gitas. How is that possible? And how are the devotees feeling? How is Vaisheshika feeling? Well, we're just scratching the surface. That's nothing. Prabhupada said that every house in the world should have a set of Srimad Bhagavatams and a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas. And it's possible. It's happening. So we can stand on the sidelines and watch the parade go by and feel sad about our life and what did we accomplish. Or we can just jump in with humility and confidence in Krishna. And at the end of this life, we will have done something wonderful and pleased Krishna and gone back to Godhead. They have a saying in America, you can have your cake and eat it too. You get to do both things. If you eat your cake, it's gone. But they say you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have an absolutely blissful, adventuresome life, and then at the end of life, go back home, back to Godhead. What's not to love? So all in there, and I think we take some questions. What do we do now? Prem Avatar, welcome back. I didn't scare you off. Krishna's mercy. Can't hear a word you're saying. Well, I'm on mute. I don't think so.
Hare Krishna, Prem Avatar.
Sorry, Hare Krishna. I was on mute. Thank you, Maharaj, for sharing. There is one short question. Generally, we are doing preaching on the platform of passion.
On the what?
On the platform of passion.
Maybe you are, but go ahead.
Yeah. So how to move from passion to the platform of compassion for the living entities?
There's a book on that. It's called Bhagavad Gita. Just paint by numbers, my friend. Everyone's always asking these magical questions. What is the secret? What is the one thing that the Swami is going to say, and my whole mind and everything's going to snap around? It doesn't, my friend. It does not work like that. It takes time. It takes energy. But it's an open book secret. It's an open book. And I'll tell you something else. Now, I'm not talking about foolishness, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur prayed. He said, I'm praying that my disciples will be tinged with passion. Not overwhelmed, not absorbed, not swept away by, but tinged by a little passion. That we should feel. Prabhupada gives the example that if you see a blind man is about to walk off the sidewalk into traffic, don't you react with some passion? Whoa, 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 wait. You grab him. So there should be some passion. We're not talking about, club them over the head and shake all the money out of their pockets. And we're not talking about that kind of passion. But there should be some dedication. So, and as far as the how to do question, there's no magic word. Well, there are. It's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, And, on one hand, we have to feel, just like Madhuvisa, I was saying, as I've been saved, without any qualification, anyone who thinks in Kali Yuga that they're qualified, maybe you, maybe Prem Avatar is a very nice, saintly person. That might be true, who took birth just to help spread the Krishna consciousness movement. I'll accept that. He's a very nice brahmachari. I know him from Ujjain. Very nice brahmachari. But, I know at least for me, I was just the bottom of the barrel. Everybody else who had a brain got out of here and has already gone back to Godhead. And here I am in Kali Yuga at the bottom of the barrel. And somehow or other, I met Srila Prabhupada, I met the devotees, and they've saved me. So what do we have to be passionate about? Tinged with passion, enthusiasm, determination, perseverance. But, I'm not going to tell you anything you haven't already read, frankly. You chant nice japa, you read Prabhupada. Prabhupada told me personally, you chant 16 rounds a day. And Prabhupada, you almost always pause, minimum. Nice japa. We've all heard it. In the morning, without any distraction. Chant nice japa. Prabhupada told me, you chant 16 rounds a day, follow the regular principles, serve the Vaishnavas, and you will see Krishna face to face in this lifetime. We were all shocked. This was in New York. Henry Street. Jayadvaita Swami asked, he said, Prabhupada, in this lifetime? Prabhupada slammed his hand on the desk and said, in this lifetime, why not? We're our own worst enemy. We just follow. Later on, Prabhupada said, Prem Avatar, touch your nose. Can they see you, Prem Avatar? Okay, touch your nose. No. Prabhupada said, no. You have to touch your nose like this. We make everything so complicated. Serve the Vaishnavas. Take Vashadam. Chant the holy name. What's the issue? Okay. So anything else?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. This was the question. So we are very grateful for your time. You shared.
That's all right. I already said what I had to say. Thank you for your kind words, okay? Thank you. All glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for doing this. This is a fantastic opportunity for the devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining. And we are very thankful to our audience as well, those who are continuously joining these sessions and giving their association. And we will be continuing this series every town and village. And tomorrow we will be going to hear from His Grace Kantiya Prabhu on meat eating is not the problem. So stay tuned.
Oh, really? That's an interesting title.
So I request all the devotees to please join these sessions. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.